Edit audio.
Pleasure for us as human beings is the equivalent of water and food. And I feel like we're coming more into that awareness of that is really the truth. Our bodies do need this. Our spirits need it.
Can you confidently say that you are sexually satisfied? Because if you're not, or maybe even if you are, because we all learn a thing or two, today's conversation is just for you. I am joined by Dr. Joy Berkheimer, who is a therapist, sexologist, relationship expert, and the author of Why Won't He Call? Her goal is to guide women to discover their inner goddess and fully glow in their relationships. We dived into intimacy challenges by generation, sexual wellness, finding compatibility with partners, feeling empowered to ask for what you want sexually, the controversial, quote, body count, and so much more. So whether you're single, you're partnered, or something in between, maybe it's a situationship, listen, we don't judge. I think there'll be something here for you. So, as always, thank you so much for joining. I am so glad you're here. Be well, sis. I'm super excited to talk to you, especially as we're in the month, or this we publish in February, which is, typically we talk about two things that are important to me, which are Black history and love. And you are a sexologist, you're a dating coach, a therapist, speaker, and author of Why Won't He Call? So I have so many questions about all of the things. So I want to start off by talking about the intimacy recession. So many of us have heard of, yes, we're in a current, financial recession. So what is the intimacy recession that Gen Z is facing at the moment?
The intimacy recession is pretty interesting, and there's some different, ideas as to what is actually creating it. But pretty much in Gen Z, they're in a space of pulling back from dating, pulling back from opening themselves up, I would say more deeply, even if they are dating in relationships, and being very much connected to the world that we're in, which is online. We're online right now, right? Being connected to listening to podcasts, to scrolling, to even having relationships with others online that may feel like intimacy, but it's creating a recession, I would say, in intimacy with interpersonal. I don't want to call them not real world. It is a real world connection. It is the World Wide Web. But there is somewhat of a pullback from what might feel like a riskier, intimate connection in person with people for this generation. And that's going to include just social connection, sexual connection, all those things. There is definitely a drop in this generation from that.
So I see a lot of framing around Gen Z. So not only what you just mentioned, but even like they are not having sex at the rate that we were when we were their age. There's also like they're just more conservative, right? So as we're talking, so the majority of the audience, people that listen here are millennials, right? Are you seeing the same things that, Gen Z is experiencing whenever it comes to relationships and dating and sexuality, sensuality? Are you seeing the same things happening with millennials and maybe even Gen Xers?
Honestly, I feel like the same things are happening in all of the generations, but at different levels, because people are becoming more aware of what they want and what they need, and they can name it, right? So, we have been able to name certain things maybe in a previous generation, like what that is, maybe what abuse is, maybe avoidance or attachment styles, where people didn't have any type of education around what it is. But even just naming it doesn't mean you know how to then manage it, So I would say in our other generations, we were probably going through the same things, but maybe not knowing how to handle it, not knowing how to even exit things that are not good for us, not having really a good framing. But each generation is getting more information from the other one who's like, girl, don't do that. Yes, right. But it's the same problems. I think it's just less of it. It's more awareness of what really goes down and what manipulation and things like that can look like and what freedom could also look like.
So let's actually talk about that. So as we're having more conversations, like intergenerational conversations, like, listen, I've been there, don't do that. I've already done it for you, right? What does freedom look like for many of us now that we understand the language, we understand emotional intimacy and
Yes.
we talk more about mental health and how that's really on the forefront now. What does
Yeah.
freedom look like based off what you talked
Mhm.
with your clients with and maybe even your own experience?
Yeah. Freedom is basically the liberation from a lot of shame. And we got shame from so many different angles. It could be from a generation before us. It could be from people who are right with us and maybe not even age. Maybe it's about the demographic, where we're from, our beliefs, right? And so
Mhm.
what we are gaining is the freedom that we don't have to be ashamed of choosing a different life. We don't have to be ashamed that if I don't really put up with the same thing that my aunt did or my mother did or my brother did, that I'm not wrong, right? Because a lot of times, like if I'm in a family where everybody was married for a really long time and what they really upheld was like these anniversaries that we were able to get through it. And maybe what I appreciate is being able to maintain a stability with my nervous system, that I was able to maintain my independence. I was able to maintain my boundaries or my ability to speak up about the things that are important to me and not feel shame around it. But there could be shame from the family of like, who do you think you are, basically, right? That you're supposed
Yeah.
to do something different than we are. And I think that's what freedom looks like, not being shackled by the who do you think you are? Stop trying to be different
Yeah.
from us.
Yeah. I would also love to talk more and just to get your insight around when people have like people understand what they want, right?
Hmm.
But there comes a time where we may feel less sexy, less sensual. When a client tells you they don't feel as sexy as before, or they just maybe there's a issue with libido, what
Hmm.
do you think that they're actually saying but they can't articulate? So basically, what is below the surface when we're talking about changes in libido and sensuality and our
Hmm.
self-image even?
So a lot of times what I'm going to do is really dive into your relation. It's always going to be your relationship with your closest intimate partner, and then other people who, let's say, exemplify intimacy around you. But the people who come to me, they're pretty transparent about, I had this sexual interaction with my partner. I even told my partner about a previous sexual interaction that I had, like basically letting them know how I receive pleasure. And they
Mhm.
shamed me around the fact that I've had pleasure before then and then wouldn't give me the pleasure that I wanted because
Yeah.
they needed to prove that their way of doing it was the best, or like they had the power to provide or not provide me with pleasure. And if it wasn't going to be them, it wasn't going to be anybody. It's a whole thing that goes on. And so it's because it's such a minefield and it's not pleasurable to be present in that type of space. People will exit, people will scroll, people will remove themselves, and therefore libido is gone.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Let's talk about compatibility because I think sometimes there could be situations where at one point you were sexually compatible, and then maybe as people want to explore more and try different things, and
mm,
they may feel shamed as to in terms of what
mm-hmm,
you just said now,
mm-hmm.
they may feel like, well, this isn't a place for them anymore. So, in terms of compatibility, what are some things that we can ask ourselves, and maybe even ask our partner, whoever we're intimate with,
Mm-hmm.
to assess whether we are sexually and sensually and intimately compatible?
It's so interesting in terms of being sexually compatible. If you were sexually compatible once, you're probably still compatible. So the sex part is probably not necessarily where the incompatibility is. It is the mindset around expression of self and what it
Mhm,
means, right? So if I want to do something that you might view as veering on homosexual, right? Like
mhm,
then, and you may not do it with me, not even because it's not going to give you pleasure. Maybe it might, but because there's this idea that you have around what it means and what it's going to mean about our relationship and our power dynamic and all those types of things. It's not the compatibility really sexually. It's going to be more about the compatibility around growth mindset or acceptance mindset. How many fears do you have? Which will come into the bedroom, which will come into our household, which will come into the way that we travel, the way that we relate even to platonic relationships, which then can affect us. It's about a breakdown around our values, what we find to be moral, immoral, that type of thing. So,
mhm,
because if you like sex, you like it. And you liked it with
mhm,
them before, like you were there, the energy is present. But if there were fears that you already have in your mind, like these fear stories, they kind of creep in, they get louder than that sexual connection. They get louder than our relationship, or we don't make the intimacy and closeness and trust in our relationship the loudest, strongest thing. So therefore, the
mhm.
outside stuff and opinions and thoughts kind of come into the bedroom, and that will put a stop to things.
Mm. I don't want to generalize, but I
Mhm.
might generalize a bit. And please correct me because you are the expert
Mhm,
here.
mhm,
But I've been finding just in like looking at social media and having conversations in speaking to heterosexual couples,
mhm,
what I find is that the male, especially if it's a black male, seems to be less experimental. So maybe the female partner, the woman might be growing in one direction in terms
mhm,
of what they want to try and experience. And,
mhm,
as life evolves, they're evolving too. And
mhm,
the male, based off of like, different quote norms that were set and what it means to be a man and this and that,
mhm.
maybe more rigid. Do you find that as a reason where couples break up essentially? Like that's like just the only reason or
Yeah,
the foundational reason for that. Yeah.
because it's like when people say money could be the reason for breakup, so can sex, right? Because if you are somebody who is tapped into your pleasure and you feel good about your pleasure, like you don't have these shame things around your pleasure, you innately, if you're connected to it, feel like I deserve this thing. So when a
Mhm.
person is engaging with you and they're literally telling you, like, I don't think you deserve it in whatever way, like, I don't, what do you
Mm.
mean? If you're connected to your sensuality and sex the same way someone might be coming from a family where everybody hugs when you come in the house or everyone gives you a kiss, right? But what if a
Mhm.
person's like, but that's not, I don't give kisses when I come home. That's ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? But
Yeah.
it's something that makes me feel loved. Like, well, you're going to have to figure out another way to feel loved. Well, then I'm going to just be with somebody who'll kiss me when they come home. But
Mhm.
that's how it really is. We don't want to act like it's that big of a deal. We might say it's because this reason and that reason, but when people have affairs and things like that and they really get caught up, it's because a lot of times that level of surrender and passion in that space is really what they were hungering for. And so they'll continue something on, even if they keep on tapping in with this person emotionally where they feel an obligation, right, to be there. They will, even if they know they're harming their family, they're at risk, all these things. That is how important sex is. Pleasure
Mm.
for us as human beings is the equivalent of water and food. And I feel like we're coming more into that awareness of that is really the truth. Our bodies do need this. Our spirits need it. Not just the existence of it, but need it in a sacred, safe way that pours into us. So yes,
Yeah.
that could be definitely a reason for somebody to break up. One of my ideas around this thing around Gen Z having less relationships is having this awareness of like, you don't have to let a man just tell you he don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to do that, right? And then a lot of people being on their own is not necessarily I just don't want to have sex, but starting to become more embodied and tapped into their own pleasure and having a better measure of what pleasure is instead of just letting someone else continue to tell you either you don't deserve that or you're asking for too much or that's strange what you're looking for.
Right. So on that same vein, so if there are people, if there's a couple, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
One person in the half of the couple, so one partner
Mhm. Mhm.
wants to try new things and the other person is reluctant, but because they are life partners, the other person who was more reluctant is like,
Mhm.
well, let me try things. So for somebody who is like the one who's more reserved, more reluctant, wants to keep things the way that they have been, how
Mm.
do they maintain their autonomy, their boundaries while still being flexible? Is that even healthy? Like my thought process there.
Yeah, sometimes you're not flexible because you may have a trauma around
Mm.
some of the things that your partner's requesting. But that's a part of our intimacy and our communication that we really have to be able to do transparently, right, with our partner to be able to say, I want to be able to have oral sex with you whenever I want to, but I have
Mhm.
specific trauma around things that have happened to me that make it very difficult. It makes me feel demeaned. I know it's not supposed to, but it
Mhm.
does. And in those instances, I would invite, this is when you invite a sex therapist or a coach or someone in there because it is very hard to just be able to explain to somebody your trauma in a way that maybe you don't even have words for. And that's what a third
Yeah.
party is usually there for, to give language, and understanding to things that neither one of you can quite put a name on.
Gotcha. So what would be the difference between a coach versus a therapist? So how would they differentiate who they should seek counsel from?
A therapist is going to be, we're opening up a space as a sex therapist. One of our first ideas is to give permission to be able to talk about the concepts and things like that, to be able to talk about the beliefs that you have around sexuality and sensuality, right? And talk about the trauma. A coach is not necessarily going to directly talk about the whole history of your trauma, but they may give you more tangible tools. Like I would consider a tantra teacher, practitioner, things like that to be a coach, right? And so this is someone who can give you the tangible tools for you and your partner to start to co-regulate and manage your traumas and your growth together.
So, when we talk about co-regulation, what does that mean for people who are coupled? Like, what does it mean to co-regulate versus? Because in my mind, I hear co and I think codependence. So,
Yes.
what's the difference there?
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. So codependence, right? I'm depending on you really to hold this part of the emotional baggage, and I'll hold this part of the emotional baggage, but it's not necessarily an equal amount that the couples hold. And so that's the codependency is an issue because somebody has to hold more, someone has to do more,
Mm.
instead of both people co-regulating, coming together where I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect and I don't respond to things with like when I'm triggered, but I don't run away after I'm triggered. I don't just dump it on you and like you figure out why I was anxious. And you figure out how to make yourself now not anxious that I was anxious. Instead of, let's speak about it out loud, or out loud, let me tell you that I need this amount of space. And out loud, let me tell you that we're going to come back together and then kind of create a new understanding for each other together. You kind of have to create your own language around this co-regulation, right? Because you don't necessarily have examples. We don't all have examples. Even if, say, your parents did co-regulate, maybe they did it in private and they just never told you about it, right?
Sure.
So how do you even know that it is okay to rockabye baby your husband? Like, no,
Yeah.
they may not tell you, and they need these things. So this is what it is to co-regulate, is to surrender even equally. Not one person has to be the person who holds you in this way, who soothes you in this way. We can both be the ones who soothe. Yes, I'm responsible for soothing myself to a point, and then we come together and we can continue that soothing.
I've asked a lot of questions regarding like people who are partnered. So I kind of want to switch it a little bit to those who may not be partnered.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I'm thinking about those who are single, who are receptive or maybe actively searching for
Mm-hmm.
partnership,
Mm-hmm.
and they pride themselves on being, quote, low maintenance or self-sufficient. So essentially, in my mind, they're hyper independent. So how can that possibly block intimacy and the pleasure, the hyper independence?
First of all, I wish the camera was on because my face. First of all,
I wish it was on
sorry.
too.
I think words are so important. I just want to encourage everybody, anybody in the world, to please never refer to yourself as low maintenance. My gosh.
Hello.
Good grief. We don't even call our cars
Yeah.
low maintenance. Come on, like
That
good grief.
part. Yes, that needs maintenance too. Yes.
Yes, like
Regular
love.
maintenance.
It's
Yes.
okay to have, yeah. So for someone who a hyper independence, really, if it's hyper, it's because it's from trauma. It's protection.
Yeah.
It's like I
Yep.
don't want to be harmed anymore. And if I don't even know the reason why someone would want to say they're low maintenance outside of you are in a space of feeling lonely. And you're advertising like, if you connect with me, you're not going to have to do that much. I just want you to connect with me a little bit, right? Which is dangerous. So you might as well, if you want to stick with the independence thing, but don't be independent and low maintenance. You're setting yourself up for the people who are looking for someone to do nothing for, basically, right? To
Yeah.
definitely not co-regulate, because you're saying I can regulate myself, right? And as a matter of fact, I can also probably regulate you. You know what I mean? Because I'm easy breezy over here, so I could take on your stuff too. And that's not what we want to do. Now, for someone who is single and looking for somebody who they do want to have that co-regulation, it is okay for you if you want to be in the receptive mode. And I'm speaking to people who are moving in their feminine energy, right? If you're in your receptive mode, then speak that, show that, like, it is okay for someone to open the door for you. It is okay for someone to care for how you're doing. You don't have to hide how you're feeling. Like a lot of times if I'm sharing how I'm feeling about something that I think could be vulnerable, a person really can't necessarily like hurt you with the things about you, but what they can do is they can show you who they are. And if you are
Mm.
able to assess quickly, you can stay out of big harm's way. You know, you hurt my feelings a little bit. You're kind of a stranger. I told you a little bit, and now I know you might use it against me. You cannot do it a second time. I promise.
Yeah.
So it is actually okay for us to be in that receptive mode and allow people to show us who they're going to show up as when I'm being soft.
Hmm. So my thought was, as you were mentioning that, I think about how just sex in and of itself is like a vulnerable act, right? Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you're letting it all out, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody expresses that they want to do something
Mm-hmm.
and the partner is just like, no, I don't want to do that, they might feel like, oh, rejected or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe people might hold back on sharing their actual true desires
Mm-hmm.
because they have a narrative of in their mind of what could possibly be the outcome without even expressing it. So for those people who are holding on to things and want to try things, any advice or tips on how they can approach the subject even or what work they can do before even going to their partner to try something different?
Yeah, the work before is going to be the big thing because obviously we can't control how the partner is going to respond, but it's the being clear and resolute on how you feel about the desire. If I have a desire, I like toes. I'm just picking anything, right? So,
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I really want you to get your. Okay, I was down laughing because it's funny, but it's a thing.
Mhm.
Okay, I really want
Mhm.
you to. I'm talking to my man. I'm like, I really want you to get your toes done because I
Mhm.
not like painted, but like I want your feet to be nice and I want to like whatever the case, right? And your
Want to suck
partner,
them toes, okay.
yeah, exactly. I want
Uh-huh.
to get all in
Uh-huh.
there. If
Yes.
I, in my mind, feel like this is a thing that one feels good because I've had it done, I've done it to other people, and I know it feels good for them, and I want to give you pleasure, and I know for a fact that you're going to receive pleasure. I feel like I've already looked up all the things around our feet clean. I know that feet are clean, right? I know the health risk. I know all the things. And because I believe in this thing, when I say it to you and you say no, I'm sad, I'm disappointed because I really love feet, but you don't put me into a shame spiral because I've already decided all the ways that it is not wrong. Right. And I would
Mhm.
say that's the big conversation you want to have with yourself. Are you bringing it to a partner to like do a thing that that you're also ashamed of? Right. And you're just hoping they're not going to shame you more. If that's the case, that is when it's like really scary. But you want to bring them something that you feel okay with, not to even have to convince them, even though it's good to bring up some pointers to make them more comfortable, but it's so that you don't feel crushed. I cannot give you this is how you say it to get them to say yes, right? That's not,
Yeah.
we can't do that, but this is how you say it to accept the no and to respect even the fact that your partner, would say no, would be clear with the boundaries. So, and when we are able to say no to our partners, we also know that when I'm having communication with you and I get yeses and nos, it does feel safer. It feels honest because you're not afraid of me. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
more that I can
Yeah.
hear you kind of and not say no and just shut down, but no and talk to me about why you're afraid of it. Like talk to, not just and not be the person who makes me feel more shame, but you are curious. That's what we're looking for. If both partners are curious, all these conversations can go so different. It doesn't mean you're always going to get what you want, but I bet a lot of
Mhm.
times you will, though. If
Yeah,
everybody's
truly.
curious, yes.
Yep, really and truly. I kind of want to talk about how the emotional load. So think about just today, 2026, there we're
Mm,
all carrying so much. Life is complicated. So
mm-hmm.
how can the emotional load and just being burnt out um impact desire and sexual connection in relationships?
Having a huge emotional load. Well, okay. Yes, we all carry it, but in terms of the co-regulation, when we're looking at relationships now, and specifically this generation, that is what people are looking for. That if something goes wrong, are you going to help me hold space for it? Not that you have to figure out all my
Mm,
problems, but are you going to help me hold space for it? If we are able to kind of come together in that space where we know that both of us are going to have equal amounts of carrying this, maybe on this day I carry more, that day you carry more, we're less likely to have resentment. But when we do not get that, what does happen is resentment. And resentment is no, I don't want to have sex with you. No, I don't really want to cook that great for you.
mhm.
No, I don't want to give you as much attention because really I'm just thinking about all the ways not to get smart with you. So I'm just not going to talk at all, because I have this
Yeah.
underlying resentment because I feel like I have all this heaviness and you appear to be living a disconnected life from me, right? I thought we were doing this together. Because if you are a little bit lighter and things like that, then why am I carrying all this? What is the point of being partnered if I have to
Mhm.
carry everything on my own? So the resentment is a huge response to that.
Yeah, and as I talk to, like, friends and stuff, that comes up really, really, really often,
Mm-hmm.
especially because I guess traditionally in society that, women do all the things, right?
Yes.
So we're, like, left carrying the majority of the mental load especially.
Mm-hmm.
How do we even have, like how do we approach that conversation in a way that they are receptive?
Oh, it's so difficult to do this after you've established a way in your relationship. I'm not trying to say, like, okay, all existing relationships are now doomed. But I'm saying it for people who are listening who are early on. The people who are most successful are people who, let's say, do couples therapy before they get married. And what
Yeah.
we do is we break down, well, I break down at least 4 sections of values. Your values around, if you're in a relationship, what are your values around finances, intimacy, spirituality, and health? So does that mean in terms of intimacy, are we monogamous? Are we people who have friends of the opposite sex, or we don't do that? Do we have sex every week, or are we once a month people, or whatever the case may be? In terms of our finances, are we people who save? Do we save for real estate, or do we save for vacation? Do we not do that at all? All those things are going to matter. And your emotional stuff comes up there too, right? In terms of like our spirituality, our health, all those things, and that if we don't match up with those values, we're going to have more and more resentment. So the people who come to me and they've been years in, and then they realize that they're so off on those values, you can't necessarily just shift that out. It's something that
Yep.
you needed to know before. That's just the
Yep.
truth.
Mhm.
Unless a person is completely like they're willing to actually shift their values, it's really difficult to do that. I just being honest, like for people to
Mhm.
believe in a certain way that women should do this and men should do this, you don't just meet somebody and be like, you know what, I actually think that they should just do that. It's not really like that. It's not. People have to go through their own life experiences outside of relationships sometimes to realize really what's important to them. People are going to change when they feel it is worth it for them. Like it feels worth it for them to change. So if we're in a lot of the relationships that we've seen, the traditional relationship where the woman is taking on all this baggage, right? And men are convinced that that is how it's supposed to be. And they're also convinced that somebody is going to say that they are low maintenance. They're just gonna be with somebody who's gonna do all the things.
Yeah.
There's no value in it for them to change if they could find somebody else to just do the thing, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
collectively have to stop doing the thing so that, you know what I mean, that the change can happen. That's what
Yeah.
really has to happen.
Ooh, you made me think about something. So I've said this so many times on the podcast, but I grew up in a really religious household, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And my cousins also grew up in similar households.
Yes.
And now that I'm the older cousin, I have my cousins in their 20s and stuff who call me thinking they're going to get like a certain type of advice.
Mm-hmm.
And my advice is you need to date. You need to date. You need to have sex. Like you need to be
Yes.
doing the things so you
Yes.
can find out what are your values. You know what I mean?
Yes.
One of the things that I don't like to see, especially for women, I don't want you to mold yourself after what his expectations are because
Oh
he
yeah.
is neither here nor there in my book. You know what I mean? So going back to like the whole Gen Z and how there's an intimacy recession. I think it's scary for not just people who are potentially looking for partners, but like as
Mm-hmm.
a society. I feel like do we not know fully who we are if we aren't meeting people and experiencing people in different capacities?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Long story short, go date. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yes, 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 yes. I think I was saying, I'm like, oh man, I'm so old now. Because I remember people before me saying this. I was like, I think for real, how we have like these regulations on drinking, on voting. So many people are about to be mad at me. I don't think you should be able to get married before 30, straight up. Like,
I
I
feel
don't
you.
think, yes, I don't think it should be legal. I just don't think it should be
Yeah.
legal. Your brain fully forms at 25. And like that gives you a solid 5 years to for real, like, this is really what I like and don't like. All right, now I'll do it. Like bringing kids and stuff, all the things before you really have figured it out. And you're still going to continue to change. And that's okay. But there's some solid things that we need to know before we get married. And it don't really happen before 30. I'm being so serious. So
I agree. I agree with you. I agree. My one cousin called and she was like, well, I don't want to run up like my body count. I'm just like, girl, fuck a body count. Like, go experience life. Like, who cares? Like, you're bright as long as like you feel safe in the situation.
Yes.
If you want to do it, if you want to find out if you guys are sexually compatible, go do that thing, please. Like, yeah, don't rush for marriage and all that.
No, and I can't believe we're still doing the body count thing, but we really are. But the only people who are doing that are people who are like, it benefits them. Seriously, if a man asks you about a body count, I need you to really think about what they're trying to really find out. Like, they're trying to, and it's not even necessarily the count. They want to see how you respond to such a question. How much control am I about to have? What kind of position am I going to have in your mind, or what kind of a position going to have you in around what's okay and what's not okay? Whatever the number is, whatever the response is, because most of the time, it's not the true answer, right? So it's really a test of how much maneuvering am I going to be able to do? And if I call you a good girl right now, because am I going to be able to hold this over you down the road when I don't want you to do this or that, or whatever the case may be? Or I want you to do more than what you want to do, but you're supposed to be a good girl, all those types of things. So I came from the same household, right? That really does come from a lot of our faith practices and understandings, or how they were taught to us. I won't go too much. I'm not trying to get canceled. So yeah, I'll say that.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And I was even, we'll touch a little bit on the religious piece. I was just like, listen, like, the text said, not to engage before marriage, but like those people were literally teenagers getting married. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, but now we are partnering long-term, like in our 30s, in our 40s. Am I supposed to be a virgin, like, till I'm 40? Like, let's just be real. It's a different time. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
It's just so important to know who you are in all of the ways. Like, and sexually is also really important. Not just, what are your hobbies and things, right? So... Because I have strong feelings.
you can find out so much about yourself and even your sexuality. I'm having interesting conversations with people who are in Gen Z, which I never expected. And because of my work, like there's more open conversation about the sexual experiences, and it's not like this, like, I don't know, this wham bam. They sensitive, girl. They sensitive. They so sensitive. Like, but like in a good way. Like, it's. People are taking it more seriously. Again, I'm kind of respecting the generation for not just like, I want to get in there and do it. Like, no, I want it to be mindful. I want it to be an experience. Whether or not it's with 15 people or one person, I'm present. That's the difference. Being truly present for the experience and seeing what it feels like for you. Not for the performance anymore, for the experience.
Yes. Oh, so good. So before we wrap up, I would love to touch on something a little bit lighter. In your bio, you mentioned, you blend your clinical expertise with intuitive wisdom to help women reclaim their inner goddess. So in that vein, I have a couple of this or that type of questions for you. So about your inner goddess, Dr. Joy.
Okay.
So slow mornings or late night intimacy?
Ooh, slow mornings. And late night intimacy. Wait a second. Why?
Okay, both. Yes. She said both. Okay. Yes. Okay. Being desired or being deeply understood?
Ooh. I'm going to keep it real, being desired, because I don't know that anyone could deeply understand me. Or, when you got so many layers, I'm big for it. And I think that really is for a lot of us. So I will allow the desire.
Okay. All right. Scheduled pleasure or spontaneous connection?
Scheduled pleasure. Scheduled pleasure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes. So I'll get the couples who are like, I don't like it to be on the calendar for Tuesday, and that's so boring. What's boring about scheduling an amazing 6-hour session of mind-blowing sensuality? I'm confused.
Hold on. You said 6 hours.
That's what I said. And I said what I said. So I'm confused about what's the problem with this schedule. I like my schedule.
Let's go back to the 6 hours. Dr. Joy said 6 hours. Okay, I have not lived life because 6 hours?
This is what I'm saying. Y'all can't be getting married. So you got to be doing some things. Yes. Listen. This is what
Well, all
so
right.
if people are talking about scheduling some 30-minute, I don't even understand what that is. It sounds like scheduling co-masturbation. Like that's what it sounds like if you're doing a quick thing.
But 6 hours?
Listen.
Dr. Joy, we got children. We have houses to clean. Okay. We have work to get back to. 6 hours sounds like I'm sorry. I feel like I ain't got it.
If y'all want me to be good to these children, if you want me to be good to this work,
You need 6 hours, Dr. Joy.
Listen, yes,
Okay.
goodness.
You know what? I got to get to living. Hold on. One day. I'll circle back with a report. Because 6 hours sounds like work. That's a full day of work. Like
It's
for me.
not. Oh God, if bliss is work, sure,
Okay.
it's a full day of work, sure.
My bliss takes 20 minutes.
You know what?
It's not about me. Okay, let's get back to you.
What I'm saying, Cass, is like, why don't you want to have 20 minutes and then you take a 10-minute break, a 15? No, you eat something and you come back and maybe have 35 minutes. Oh, I'm not talking about all in one. But it's like dedicated to sensuality space. I'm not saying you're just having sex for 6 hours. I mean, we are, but sex is so many things. It's so many things.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fair. Okay. All right, I got you. Okay, I'm with you.
But I'm just saying, if you need me to write you up a blueprint for the 6-hour thing, I will send it to you. I'm telling you, it'll be great.
You might need it.
Okay.
I might need it. We're due for like a little vacation, so I might need it. Music on or silence?
Oh, goodness. Music on.
Okay.
On.
Well, all right.
Yes.
Okay, so texting all day or intentional check-ins?
Intentional check-ins.
Yeah.
I got stuff to do. It's
fair.
Like, so I'm not even trying to be like I was, and this is growth, right? Like I would be the person like, why aren't they texting? I don't understand. Like it's so easy. You can go to the bathroom and text and until I got into my space. A space in my life where, like right now, I'm talking to you. I can't text anyone back. If I'm on camera for a good part of the day, if I'm in session, what you do really does. Sometimes people are avoiding you, but a lot of times it is just about, I know that when I do connect with you and talk to you, I want it to be intentional. I don't want it to be the same way I'm the scheduler. You ask me, I'm the scheduler. So yes, I want to be intentional about how we communicate. So yes. Yeah.
Fair. Quality time or acts of service?
Quality time. Yeah.
Okay. Consistency or intensity?
Oh, no. What? Or what is this?
So you're like both. Yes! Consistency and intensity. Yes! Fair. Okay, no problem.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. It's so good. So as we wrap up, I would love to know what is something that you want people to take away from just this conversation.
No matter what the stats are looking like for whatever generation that you are in, that we are in, I think collectively we are all getting more in tune with our bodies, with pleasure, with really being present. We're getting more in tune with the value of living, and we're trying to really soak up every moment of that, whether it is partnered or not partnered. Really take away that you being more grounded in your personal pleasure, what creates that, the barriers that you need to protect your peace and your pleasure is going to help you formulate a better language to partner with someone to help to grow that pleasure, to help to grow that protection for both of you. So get grounded with yourself first and it'll flourish into something else. So it's okay. Whatever Gen Zers are doing, maybe they're teaching all of us something. But I think all of us are becoming much more mindful of our own pleasure. So.
Oh, beautiful. And where can the people find you and how can they work with you possibly? All the things.
Okay, so the best space to find me would be my IG, which is going to be Glow Your Goddess, or on YouTube, where I have a whole lot of tools around embodiment and pleasure, which is going to be Dear Dr. Joy.
Perfect. So I will link that down below in the show notes. That way it's an easy click to go follow you, go watch the videos. And I'll also link your book down below as well. And your book is called Why Won't He Call?
Yes. Yes.
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I love this conversation. Thank you for listening to this episode of Be Well Sis. If you'd like to get in touch with us, there's a link in the show notes. Be Well Sis is hosted by me, Dr. Cassandre Dunbar, and produced by Edit Audio. Don't forget to hit follow so you never miss an episode. Until next time, be well, sis.